All right, so working on the stainless trim for the Galaxie. I'm calling it a washboard because that's kind of what it looks like. The way that you put this on is there's a screw here that corresponds with that, and then there's some screws on the bottom. What I did for the other side, I did the other side first. I screwed it in, I made sure it fit okay, and then I took it off, and I was worried about this rattling against the side of the car. So I just put some like high temperature silicone behind it, and that helps kind of adhere it, but also will sort of insulate it from sounds. I reattached it, and then I ended up using, I didn't like the way the screws were sticking out. You could sort of see them. And so I went back with rivets and I riveted it in each hole. And so you're gonna rivet here, 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 and here. And then this piece, there's a piece of trim that goes along this wheel well and sort of meets up with this quarter panel trim. And that one's tough to put in, but I got it in over there, so we'll get it in on this side. So that's where we're at. Try to mock this up real quick and that'll... Okay, so now I've sort of got it mocked up. It's taped in place up here because there's a piece of trim that goes like that. But I wanted to make sure all the screws lined up and I was able to access everything. It fits pretty good. This panel polished up okay. The other one polished up really, really nicely, but there's, I guess these are rock chips or something. I'm not sure, but I polished it as good as I could, and still, it just didn't turn out as nice as I was hoping, but I think when everything else is on there, it'll be in good shape. And like there's actually like, there's a little chunk out right there on the edge. I don't know if you can see that. I don't even know how that happens. There's a little chunk taken out of the back of it. It's not like this stuff rusts or anything. So anyways, now that I've got it sort of mocked up, I know it's gonna fit okay. I'm gonna pull it off, silicone, screw it in, make sure it's still fitting good, and then I'll back each screw out and sink rivets. And that will be the end of that. So anyways, I'll probably use a piece of 3M tape right on this tab right here, because I don't know if the silicone will hold it, and I really want this all to be nice and flush when it sets. And then the piece of trim that runs along here should kind of push down on that too to make it fit nicely. Okay, this is how I prepared the back of the panel. Just some silicone that is high temperature or whatnot, and that should help with rattling. It doesn't crack, and it will be, for whatever reason, if I need to remove it, I'd be able to remove it, I think, pretty easily, hopefully. Probably not, but yeah, so that's what it looks like. Let's get this thing put on. So first thing I'm gonna try to do is get this little screw lined up, and then I'm gonna use that tape that I had earlier. And now, when on the other side, when I initially installed this, adding the silicone did make things fit a little differently. So something to, and I leave this top one loose as sort of figured out that I need to maneuver this around as I'm getting the screws to fit. So go ahead and put this guy like this. That'll keep it from hopefully falling. And then what I did is I used a punch to locate the hole. And then screw goes in. Same thing. And I'm not trying to over tighten anything right now. All I want to do is get everything set and where it needs to be. So Last one. Sorry if my head's in the way. All right, so now I'm going to tighten all these down as much as I can, at least snug them down so that this fits the way it's supposed to. And all right, so everything's on, and so now tighten this guy, and then I'm going to start working everything and working that silicone in. And I'm gonna go ahead and put a little clamp on that because that doesn't fit as much as I would like it to. Everything else looks okay. Really just work all this out and get all that silicone to play nice. Yeah, it's not a great fit right there like that. Wonder if I relief this out, if that'll fit better. Because I'd rather it be fitting nice down there. It's all trial and error. And the quality control on the stuff back in the day, wasn't like great. They were putting these things together and that was it. As quick as they could. Can't imagine being a guy who, for 8 hours a day, put on these things all day long. You know? That's what people did. Okay, so I used some clamps and a little piece of wood to kind of get this more flush, because there's not a piece of trim that goes this way. And that's the rest of it, holding that piece there. And I'm gonna go through and just rivet this real quick and knock it out. And let it set overnight, and then I'll add this piece of trim probably tomorrow, hopefully, if I have time.